I know. Like I said, I wasn't gonna change my hair again, but change my hair again. Probably gonna be blonde in a few weeks. Anywho, welcome back to Ship Talk Sunday. Let's roll the intro. Okay, welcome back to another Ship Talk Sunday. I'm happy to be back with you all. I think I might end up changing the way a lot of these are posted going forward. Because I find that I didn't post last week because it was Mother's Day. Like my daughter's in college, but honestly, if she was here, I would not be concerned with posting a YouTube video. I would literally be having the best day with my kid, and I really did not want to push on Mother's Day. Hey, watch Ship Talk Sunday. I mean, I don't know. It's a day for you to do you. So I just didn't want to push it. But and I felt the same way on Easter. On Easter, I pushed Ship Talk Sunday, and it barely got views. And because it's Easter, like that's like the Super Bowl of church, and everybody's out and everybody's eating. So I've decided that if a major holiday falls on a Sunday, then we're just not going to do this. However, one thing I did realize is when I have a week in between to take a break, I come back stronger. Like when I have a week in between Ship Talk Sundays, I feel like I'm more organized, like I'm more ready. So I do believe that Ship Talk Sundays is going to go from every Sunday to every other Sunday now. Yeah, because these, as you see, they're an hour long. So these are quite a bit. It takes a lot of work to do. And like I said, in between that time, I always come up with the best revelations in between that time. And I think it's because when I'm taking a break off, when I'm taking a week off, I'm taking a week off. Like I have the ability to sit back and think some more. So we're going to go to every other Sunday with Ship Talk Sunday. But make sure you are following me on all social media because that is even more consistent. So make sure you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok now, at Shamar Latanya, across the board. All right, so let's get into this. These Ship Talk Sundays sometimes, really, I need y'all to understand, like they really be me talking to me. Oh, wait. Really quickly. We're all over the place today because I'm just so excited also. This is my award that I got. I was honored at an award here in Hartford called the Blackity Black Awards, and my award says Humble Hero for the work that I do, empowering women, motivating women, encouraging women to become the best version of themselves uniquely. So you'll be seeing that up there now. Period. All right, but Ship Talk Sunday. Yo, I need y'all to understand that like these really do be for me. Okay? This particular Ship Talk Sunday was nowhere on the list. But what had happened was there we go. What had happened was I have found myself lately just being really frustrated with certain parts of the process. Being asked to shift my brand and everything else like that has created so many different waves within my life, and most of it has been good, and I think that all of it is going to be good, but I really do need to get like used to it. The people that I had in my corner before my sabbatical are not the same people that were in my corner now. My people who I thought were my people before are not the same people now. It's different. And I'm finding myself getting more frustrated with certain other processes. Relationship wise, how this grows. I'm just like, okay, God, I have done the best that I can. I have put in the work. Like, when is this going to grow? And sometimes when you can, sorry, we had to do a cut jump because I needed to get my water, because I was already feeling it. So, hello, allergies. So sometimes when we continue to talk to God about these things, we say, oh, I'm talking to God, I'm asking when. It is really easy, especially if you're me, it is really easy for that to turn into complaining and frustration. And me and God are so close that sometimes I'm like, God, why are you not airing me? You just want me to be in this way forever. Like, you don't really love me and care about me. Like, it becomes the most dramatic thing, right? But because it's our frustrations that come up. And waiting is ghetto. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. My patients be in shambles like all the time. And there are times where there's just nothing that I can do about it. There are times where most times, 99.9% of the times, I just have to continue waiting. But I heard this thing, or we always use this phrase, delayed doesn't mean denied. Okay, I like totally get it, but I started to think about that, like delayed doesn't mean denied, and I started thinking about the word delay. And typically when something is delayed, it is held up. It was supposed to get there on time, but now it won't. And for me, that word delay is very frustrating. I never want to hear that word delay. When a package is delayed, I get frustrated because it was supposed to be here on this set date and now it's not for whatever reason. So I started looking up the word delay. It means like postpone or defer. You know, I'm looking at my notes. Denied, meaning refuse to give or grant something requested or desired to someone. Okay. Neither one of those has the positive connotations that we want them to have. Excuse me, y'all. Neither one of those has the positive connotations that's going to help us in the waiting period. Because now you're telling me, when I hear delay doesn't mean denied, now you're telling me that really I'm not crazy. It should have been here at this time, but it's not. So now I want to know, well, then why is it delayed? Did I do something? Did something happen? Because now I'm thinking, okay, so it's going to get here eventually. It's delayed, but not denied. But why is it delayed? So then I started thinking, like, we always say that when something hasn't happened yet, but is it really delayed? Or is it really that we are still in the process? The process meaning a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. And a process is not overnight, as we all know. A process takes time. So is it really delayed, or are we still in process? There is this thing when you deal with a lot of insurance. Once I am done working with the client, we begin to go through claims, right? Because everything has a claim attached to it. When you do any kind of health, mental health, physical health, whatever, there's a claim attached to it. And a lot of times, if the claim is not denied, it'll say in process, meaning it's going through the steps it needs to go through for it to pay out. So I started to think, like, okay, what if it really is not delayed? We're just in a process. And then thinking it's delayed makes you even more frustrated with the process, because delayed almost signifies that the process is done. It's just taking its time to get there. When I think about delay, right? I think about when I order off of Sephora. Sephora. And the process is done. I have seen the item that I want, or items, if you know me. I've seen the items that I want. I have put in my credit card information. I hit submit. All my information is right. Bam, there it is. That process is done. Now the next part of the process is shipping and tracking and delivery. So I'm ordered from Sephora this week. And on Tuesday I ordered this contour wand, and I put in all the information, sent it all off. The next part of the process, they sent me an email. It's going to be delivered on Monday. It actually got here today. But the process is now complete. But there have been times where I have done that and they'll say shipment delayed. And there's usually a reason attached to it. Now I want to find out what that reason is. So now I'm frustrated and like, when am I going to get my package? That's what we think about, or me, when I hear delayed, not denied. Okay, so I've done my part. What is we doing? I have done my part. What are we doing? So I really want to challenge that saying delayed, I really want to challenge that delayed, not denied. I really want to challenge us to think that it may not even be delayed. Yo, what if we still in the process? And there's more growth to do. There's more revelations to be had. And we're so frustrated that we don't realize that. Now, this is where it became me talking to me. And this is why I'll be appreciating y'all having me to do this little Shift Talk Sunday, because God really be coming for me, okay? God really be putting me in a chokehold about some things, because I was like, God, this is frustrating. And then that was my answer. Like, I want this. I want this so bad. Why is it not here yet? Is it delayed? Why is it delayed? And God was like, or you could still be in the process. Which, I'm not even gonna lie to you, this may not be the revelation you want. It certainly wasn't the revelation I wanted. Because now I'm annoyed because I feel like I've been in the process forever, bro. Like forever I've been in the process. Like what do I need to do to move this thing along? Okay, like what do I need to do? But the next revelation I got was, listen, okay? And I'm gonna say this again later. God is already in your tomorrow. So whereas I'm thinking about right now, today, and what I've been doing, God has already gone ahead of me and is in my tomorrow, setting things up. God does everything in perfection. If I look down, God know I'm looking at my notes. God does everything in perfection. And sometimes the waiting is to make sure that every piece lines up right. Everything is in the right position. Every person is in the right position. The conditions are right. The conditions are ready. It's giving very much. Think about a puzzle piece, right? I used to hate those large puzzles that take that's like 150 pieces because I'm going to get frustrated with it. So sometimes you could take a piece and you can make it fit and it'll be okay. But really, when you step back and you look at the whole puzzle, it's not given what it's supposed to have gave. And you know why it's not given what it's supposed to have gave? It's because as you look at that picture, you'll see some beautiful parts. But then you'll get to that one part that you know you jammed up in there and it ain't supposed to be up in there. And it looks somewhat kind of sort of right. But now the picture isn't in its completion the way it was set up to be. Ooh, that's the Holy Ghost. I did not have that in my notes. The way that it was set up to be. The manufacturer, I'm still getting used to having teeth at the bottom. The manufacturer knows what this is supposed to look like. They created it. So they put it all into the box for you to put together. Each piece has a part to where it's supposed to look like. And you have got to go through the process of making sure each piece fits. Okay, you are co-partnering with God. God is a manufacturer. And God knows what the ultimate picture is supposed to look like when this is all said and done. So he's got to line everything up and you just have to go along with them. But, you know, we don't want to do that, especially if it's taking a long time. It is very much like Abraham and Sarah. Definitely look at my notes right now. It's very much like Abraham and Sarah. I have to believe that when God told Sarah she would give birth, and she was like, I'm like 99 years old. I'm old. And she started laughing. And then it took even longer. I have to believe that God was already in there tomorrow. And he was. And setting things up for the right conditions, the right people. There were so many players or so many people that had to be in position for Abraham's son for Isaac to finally be born. There were so many different pieces that had to be in place. Because that was going to lead us into the whole setup of the Old Testament. So it has to be done right. Certain kings had to be set in place. Certain regulations had to be set in place in order for this all to play out the right way. Now, we don't see that because we don't have the ability to skip ahead to tomorrow. We're given a vision. We're being prepared for it. And sometimes we're told what's coming, but then we get so frustrated and so impatient that we want to get right there, right now. So what does Sarah do? She does like what the most of us do, especially me. I have got to believe that I am still single because A, I have gotten away too many times, and B, God knows what it is. He already know me. And so he's got to get the right person and the right conditions and the right lifestyle. Because if it's not right, I'm gonna be out. Okay. But Sarah does what most of us do when we get frustrated. She takes matters into her own hands. Like, okay, God, maybe it's supposed to go this way because this is not happening. Like, I'm already mad old. and I'm still not pregnant. So maybe he meant like I was going to have a son through adoption or something. We forget all the time that God said what God said. Your purpose is your purpose. What's going to happen is going to happen. And if God meant for it to be a different way, he would have said that. There are plenty of people out here who know that they were meant for adopt, like who have come to terms with the fact that they are meant to be adopted parents. And so they do that. Okay? They may not have got there easily, but they get there. So Sarah begins to, the story goes, she has Hagar come in. Hagar and Abraham get it popping, you know what I mean? They I don't know, herding sheep and chilling, feel me? So they do their little thing, they throw it down, and Hagar gets pregnant. And Sarah soon learns, like, oh snap, I don't like this either. Maybe it wasn't supposed to go this way either, because now Sarah's jealous. Because what did Sarah do? Sarah settled. That's what she did. And the one thing I have to thank God for is that when we get to the point where we want to jump up in there and settle, God always says, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm going to let you feel the effects of it so you'll never do that again. But I'm still going to come in there and give you the promise. So the whole story goes, Sarah gets jealous of Hagar. Hagar gives birth. And eventually Sarah does become pregnant. Okay, because what God said is what God said. And now you got these two kids in the camp. And Sarah was like, basically, there's no room for both of them. Like, Ishmael got to go. Okay? So, I'm sure Ishmael was cute, right? But he was not the promise. I hear God talking to me right now. Sometimes we get caught up in somebody and they're cute, but they're not the promise. I heard you, okay? Lord. But anyways, so he was cute, but he wasn't the promise. Now, the danger of not understanding the difference between delay, denial, and process is that we begin to settle for not even less than what we deserve. It's not even about that, right? We begin to settle for less than what we're purposed for, which is dangerous territory to be in. I know that we have all seen in our families, especially the generations before us, settle for less than what they're purposed for. So they never really hit what they're supposed to hit because they have settled. So that's the danger in that. So how do we understand like delay, denial, process? All right, period. Let's get to delay. All right. Delay. It was time. Outside conditions were right. I'm looking at my notes. Leaders were in place. The land had been chosen. But the Hebrews' heart and faith were not ready. And this is after the Exodus. It was time. Everything was ready. But their heart and their faith wasn't ready. Well, how do we know that? They complained so much. Like, they were so uncomfortable that they wanted to go back to Egypt. It's like, what? After everything got went through, like Moses had to, come on now. But when it was time, Joshua and his homeboy go into the land to spy it out, and the land is occupied by giants. Now, some of the spies come back and says, yeah, we can't, yeah, man, I'm not really feeling this. There's giants there. I don't think we can win this. But Joshua, ever the G, ever the gangster, ever the, Joshua ain't never been a punk. Joshua was like, first of all, man, they big or whatever, but we could take them. So Joshua had the faith. Joshua knew that with God, they can do anything. Everyone else was like, yeah, no, player, we're not doing that. So they weren't ready. So they had to wait another 40 years on that mountain between the complaining and the wanting to go back to Egypt and not wanting to. They had to wait 40 years for that generation to die off, because it wasn't just those people to die. It wasn't like y'all don't believe in God, so you gotta die. That wasn't really it. It was the mindset had to die off. That generational curse had to die off. So they couldn't go into the promised land until that generation that had that still enslaved mindset died off, and that enslaved mindset died off with them. So that's why that was a delay. But you can ask yourself, so then why were they even brought out of why were they even brought out of Egypt in an Exodus? Because if God is in our tomorrow, then shouldn't he have already known that they were going to act like this? And did. Because in order to get the next generation that does not have an enslaved mindset to not have an enslaved mindset, you have to get them out of those enslaved conditions. You have to get them into a position of freedom so they can maintain that free mindset. That is why that's not, that I just had that revelation when I was writing this out. Because if they had just stayed there, each generation would have had that enslaved mindset. It's gotta stop somewhere. So the delay is, I would have given it to that generation, but they're not ready. So let me wait till that generational curse and that mindset dies off, and then we'll bring in this one to take the promised land. And did. So, deny, we have Adonijah and Solomon. So we talked about them a few weeks ago, or was it last week, or the last Ship Talk Sunday? Adonijah and Solomon, two brothers, two sons of King David, and Adonijah is older than Solomon. Legally, Adonijah had the right to the throne because he was older. But I told you all last week, it don't matter it don't matter what kind of sense it makes in the natural realm. In the spiritual realm, if it's opposite to that, it's already passed through the spiritual realm, baby. Okay? So the spiritual realm is always going to take precedence over the natural. So Adonijah has a legal right to the throne, naturally, because he's older. But Solomon was the promised right. So, was the promised heir. So, what does Adonijah do? Adonijah takes it upon himself while King David is on his deathbed to declare himself king and start all kinds of ceremonies and whatnot. Adonijah, that is a straight out deny. Why? Because you cannot take what is not yours. You cannot, I should say this. You cannot take it and keep it. You might be able to get your hands on it, but you can't keep it. You cannot, and you will not. Eventually, if not immediately, you will lose it because you're not supposed to have it. That is outright deny. So at the end of it all, David anoints Solomon, and Solomon tries to work with his brother, but his brother is still trying to take something that doesn't belong to him. So his brother ends up executed. And when we try and take things, this is the Holy Ghost, this is not my notes. When we try and take things that are not ours because we just want to get there, it is possible to die a spiritual death. Because now you've taken on a weight of something that you are not supposed to carry. It's not yours. Okay? So that's denied. Now we get into process. The Davids. It's a process. You know what your purpose is to be. You know who you're supposed to be. David was anointed king at 12 or 13. Didn't become king until in his 30s. But you've got to grow and mature into it. And growth and maturity takes time. So we got the Davids of the world that are in the process. Growth and maturity takes time. There is no time frame on growth and maturity. That's something that you just have to go through. And then you've got the Ruths. The Ruths, you know what's next in your relationship, but something has just died off. So you've got to heal for a little while. And then you've got to make sure that the person that you're with, or the person that God has designed you to be with next, you got to make sure not only are you healed, but that you both are in a clear mental state, you both are in a clear spiritual state, and that you both have the maturity and discernment to move ahead. Okay? Then you have the Josephs. You have the vision. God gave you that vision. God gave you that dream. But life continues to get in the way, not realizing that life is actually helping you understand your vision more, understand your gifting more. How do I use my gifting to help other people? How do I use my gifting even when people have lied on me? Because y'all know, Potiphar's wife was trying to get with Joseph, and Joseph was like, nah, you my master's wife. And she was like, fine, I'm gonna corroborate Amber Heard. Not wrong one. Anywho, so you've got delay, denial, process. You got to understand what each one is. And for the process, I can go on and on, but we really going to be here all night. I'm trying to shorten these videos for y'all, feel me? But now what do we do? Because child, like I hear you, Shamar, but child, I am tired. So honestly, what do we do now? Well, I'm glad you asked because now we're going into our shift talk points. What do we do when we've got to wait? Sorry, I'm excited. Shift talk points, like right now. All right, so shift talk points. Again, I've got my notes. I'm looking at them. Okay, I have them set up nicely. So what do we do? All right, practical steps. All right, first thing is you've got to stay consistent. You cannot give up. You have to start thinking about your focus and where your focus is. Remember everything that you've gone through already, because I feel like, and I get it. I get it. Like it's easy to be like, you know what? I knock all this over. Okay, but that would be giving up on all the things that you've done to get here. That would be giving up on your process, the work that you put in. So it's like you already here now. You might as well do this the right way and follow it through. So don't give up. It's interesting. We are always taught that, I think it's like a day with us is like 1,000 years with God, or 1,000 years with us is like a day to God, or something like that. Um, Either way, we have to understand that our timing is not God's timing, right? So what we think may be taking forever, God's up there like, it's only been a day. What's she talking about? Talking to the angels like we literally just manifested that in the spiritual realm. She want to be there already. So, and the interesting point I want to make about not giving up is this: spiritually, when you see something, when you have these visions and you have these dreams, they don't come out of nowhere. What you're seeing is something that has already taken place ahead of you. You are simply not there yet. You're on the way there. It's supposed to keep you going. But we want it when we want it, so we get frustrated and we either try and force it to happen before it's time, or we just give up entirely. And I have seen so many women that have so much potential give up. And I am begging you not to give up, because you need you. And when you hit your purpose, and when you finally hit that, hit whatever it is that it is, you're going to be all the better for it. And so will the world around you. Okay? Secondly, encourage yourself. You've got to keep yourself encouraged. I was going to say, well, no, I'll say it. I would say encourage yourself with words of affirmations, with scripture, with prayer. You've got to keep yourself encouraged, and you've got to keep your head up. I feel like this is a lot when it comes to single women. Actually, with anything, but I'll use myself as an example. I am a single woman in business, and my business shifted this year. And the same people that were with me back in 2021 are not with me right now. And that has been difficult. And sometimes it makes me want to give up and just quit it all. But I see the few people that are starting to come around the corner now, and it is making me want to hold on, because things are shifting. When I think about myself being a single woman, a large chunk of me just wants to give up. I think I give up like every day, and I feel it right now even a little bit. But at the end of the day, I know me. I am a relationship kind of girl. Now, I can navigate these single streets now. Don't get it twisted. And I have done so quite well. I can be out in these streets and I can play this game and I can make it go down. But that just because I can do it doesn't mean I want to. And so I have to believe that God knows my heart's desire, and God is getting me ready for that right person. Because the first time, and there was a lot of love between me and my ex-husband, but the first time I definitely forced it for the vision that I had. And we didn't make it. This time I don't want to force it. So you got to keep yourself encouraged. However it is that you do that. Keep yourself encouraged, because keeping yourself encouraged keeps you focused. It is very much, it's giving very much, I will look to the hills from whence cometh my help. In order to look to the hills, you've got to look up. The more you look down, the more you see everything that was, come on, Revelation. The more you look down, the more you look at what you've already come past, what you've already made it up from. And when you look down, it's easy to go back to that because it seemed easier. Children of Israel. And it's giving very much Lot's wife. She was told not to look back, but she did. And some of us look back and we wonder why we salty. Are we mad about it? Encourage yourself and look forward. Because looking back, unless it's a lesson you gotta pull, it's gonna get you every time, and not in the good, not in the best of ways. You gonna end up back with somebody you ain't got no patience, no time being with, no business being with. You gonna end up back in a situation that you ain't got no business being in. You gonna end up back at a job that you ain't got no, that God has already delivered you from. Like, girl, trust me, keep yourself encouraged. This next one. Have patience. Have patience. Okay, I said have patience. Have patience. Again, we don't always see the whole picture. And so sometimes we have to have patience for that whole picture to develop. James was saying, James was in the scripture in James, the book of James. James was saying that when he looks in a mirror, he doesn't always see the clear picture first because a mirror looks foggy. But as he matures and as he grows, it's like the mirror gets clearer and the fog goes away and he can see clearly who he was supposed to be. That is the point of having patience. Because it looks foggy right now. And trust me, I don't even want to be saying this to y'all. Because now that I'm saying this to y'all, I got to be held accountable for this, okay? So I really don't be wanting to say I'm saying it, but I'm going to say it. I'm not rolling my eyes at y'all, roll my eyes at myself. But it looks foggy now, but when you give it some time, that picture becomes much clearer. But you've got to give it time to become clear. You've got to give it time to let it develop. We have become a microwave society. Thanks to technology, everything happens within 30 minutes or less. And purpose takes longer. You can't overnight it. You can't 2-day it. I've tried. Okay. The next one, I always lose my shift talk points. The next one, this is a really big one. Sometimes you have to work when it's necessary. Is there something you should be doing right now? I'm quite sure it's not sitting on your couch crying and mad at God and yelling at God, saying that God doesn't hear you and God doesn't care about you because he's taking too long to make something happen and now you just on the couch crying and whatnot. And I'm not talking about my life. I'm just describing somebody else. Okay, I did do that once. Okay, twice. Okay, sometimes I do it quite... Listen, this ain't about me right now. We talking about y'all, okay? So, but is there a part that you should be playing? I'm sure sitting around and complaining is not it. We think that when we wait, we just sit there with our hands crossed and we do nothing. No way, boo-boo. Waiting is working as well. Is there something that you should be doing in the meantime? When I think about all the people who are going through their process, they were all working through that process. David was learning leadership skills by doing. And who else did I say? David was learning leadership skills by doing. Ruth, we all know what Ruth was doing to get Boaz child. Ruth was out here like, okay, Naomi, my mother-in-law, what I gotta do? Ruth was out here working in the fields. And they always say, oh, all she did was focus on work. No, Ruth did not only just focus on work. Let's get that straight right now. Ruth focused on her work that was in front of her man. And then Ruth made sure that man knew that she had intention. Stop telling me and these single women that all Ruth did was work and Boaz couldn't find her. Ruth shot her shot. Let me calm down. Anyways, but there was something she had to do in the process. Joseph had to work in that process. So you've got to work. I mean, let's think about it. Jacob waited 7 years to get his woman. He worked 7 years and then worked another 7 years. So there's working that you are going to have to do in the process. And you've got to ask God what that is. You have to sit and think, what is that work that I need to be doing? I think about my daughter. Her ultimate goal is for that degree. She's not just going to jump right to it 4 years later. She's got to work in the meantime and be patient with the process. So work when it's necessary. Where we at? Look at my notes. 1, 2, 3. That was number 4. We're on number 5, and then we have one more after this. Rest when it's necessary. You've got to rest when it's necessary, because a lot of times when we are doing so much. I mean, I just told you all to work and I'm telling you all to rest. Here's the balance. If you are like me, you will work so hard and become obsessed with it that you won't take the time to rest. That is how I feel. That's how I am with my weight loss and my gym days. The gym does provide a lot of clarity for me, and it is my downtime to just work my body out and just be me. But if I have a goal in mind and I see that I start to hit that goal, I will become obsessive with it, and I will go twice a day sometimes. And my body doesn't have a chance to rest, and then it crashes, and then I wouldn't go for like a week. So now I make it a point. I don't go every day. I go every other day, because the day in between, I take the time to rest my body. So there has to be time while you're working. There has to be time for you to rest, because again, as I just told you at the beginning of the video, when you're resting, you're recharging your body, you are recharging your mind, you're recharging your spirit, and when you can recharge all of that stuff, it gives you greater revelation and greater strength and greater power because you're charged up, you're ready. So you got to rest when necessary, and when God calls you to take a step back, don't be afraid to take a step back. Living witness. I shifted and now I'm back and it feels good sometimes. Today. Ask me again tomorrow. This is a biggie. If you have given it to God, stop trying to take it back. It's giving that meme with DJ Khaled when he's looking around the corner and you're like, hey God, you know that thing I just prayed? I'm just checking on it. Like, once you pray about it, leave it there. Let me tell y'all something. I am still learning to do that. That's a conscious decision you have to make every day. And every day I have to make that conscious decision to just leave it there and just let God work on it. But those moments where I do, let me just tell you, it always works itself out. Always. So those are your shift talk points. Are we going to have a challenge today, this week? I think we are. I believe we are. And y'all know I love me a good journal. So let's get into this Shift Talk Weekly Challenge, okay? Okay. Shift Talk Weekly Challenge. Grab your journals. You know, I'm a big fan of journaling. I just got a new journal from Hallmark. Isn't this like super cute? Like, it's super cute. I love this. But I just got it. It says Dear Self on it. I'm in love. But I just got this. I love journaling because when you journal, you get so much clarity because you're not turning things over in your mind. You're getting it from your mind to the paper and you're allowing yourself. And that's an organized matter. And as it's coming out, you often find your solutions as it's coming out. So I'm a big fan of journaling. So grab your journals. Grab your pencils and or pens. I like pencils because I want to be able to erase. I don't like putting line through, okay? But grab your stuff because this is what I want you to do. I want you to think about the situation that seems impossible or hopeless, okay? Write that thing down and then write out how should or could you actually really think about it. Is it a delay? Probably not. Is it a denial? Only if it's not meant for you. But if you know this is for you, then it's not a denial. But is it a process? And I want you to really write out what part of the process you feel like you're in and what you can do to continue on. Sometimes the process, is just taking it step by step, day by day, and never quitting. So really begin to write that out. How do you get past what seems hopeless? I'm going to give you a hint. You look towards the future, and sometimes you gotta write out the little prophecies that people be giving you. Okay, don't tell nobody. Y'all gotta keep it to yourselves. All right, but you know, when you get that little vision or dream, or when you have that little prophecy, sometimes you gotta write it out, and you gotta keep it in the book where you can go back to it. Right, but if you think you're gonna forget about the book, okay, then you have to put it somewhere in your house that don't a whole lot of people see because people's energy be wilding out here, and you gotta put it. Remember, God, this between us. And you gotta put it somewhere where you can see it all the time so you don't forget it. So when it seems hopeless, you can look at that and know what you're going towards, okay? But don't y'all gotta keep this between us. Don't tell nobody. Okay. So, y'all know I am silly. So there's that piece. Begin to really write that out. And then if you're going to write that out, the next step should be, clearly we know that you have to be doing something. Like just sitting there waiting for it is not going to be a thing, right? Per example, when my brother was in a medically induced coma after his car accident, you could say, oh, all y'all could do was sit around and wait. Nah, B. Me and my mom was bouncing back and forth with them prayers. We was praying heaven down. We was pulling on all kinds of faith. We was calling into that room, speaking into that room like he could hear us, because I fully believe that he could. We was in that joint like, what? I think our faith increased exponentially during that. And so did our prayers. So we were doing something. So begin to write out, what should you be doing during this time? And it is not getting in your own way. It is not trying to force something to happen that you know you ain't got no business forcing to happen. It is not trying to manipulate the situation to make it work for you. That ain't it. Don't do that. Don't try to go out here and do that. Instead, I told you to do that, because I'm telling you right now, don't do that. But the work that you're supposed to be doing should be growing and developing you and maturing you. So when it comes, you are ready. Okay? Period. All right, so we did good this week. No, we didn't, child. We still have 40 minutes. I was trying to make these 30, but whatever. It's not an hour like some of them. All right, so again, Shift Talk Sunday will not be here next week. We are going to every other week because it really gives in between, which I don't know is in between the Shift Talk Sundays. I work full time as a coach, as a wellness coach for an insurance company that is, by the time I'm done wellness and all day, I am exhausted. I also have my daughter coming home from college, so I do want to take some time to spend with her. And I am going back into speaking, so I'm preparing to have my first speaking engagement for the first time in quite a while. Actually, no, I had one a few weeks ago at a high school. So everything is picking up. And one thing I have learned from the years that I was hospitalized and I was out of commission for 5 days and on 5 different medications is to be proactive about taking care of my body. And also so I can give you all the best, right? Today was really great. I had amazing energy. I felt good because I had the time to like rest and get it going. All right. So I love you all. Until the next Shift Talk Sunday. And don't forget, leave comments, like, subscribe, share these with your friends. I love comments because I love like replying to comments. So leave a comment. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know how you're doing in your process. And I will see you on the next Shift Talk Sunday.